Hi, my name is Huib van Bockel. I'm the founder of TENZING Natural Energy. We started about in 2016. We launched, the whole process started a bit earlier, I think 2015. And the idea was really simple. Back in the day, there was only energy drinks made from artificial ingredients and lots of sugar. And the idea I had was, why not create an alternative that is fully plant-based and has about 60% less sugar? And that's what we did. We knew that there was a lot of people worried about the amount of artificial ingredients, about the amount of sugar, the sugar levels. So we thought, okay, let's create an alternative that tackles those two issues. That still works, still gives you that energy you're looking for, but is made purely from plants and made with a lot less sugar. So that was the basic idea. It was really simple. Hadn't been done yet. Strange, I thought at the time even. So I thought, let's go for that. And one of the key processes is also kind of, thinking about what else do you want to do? Because also another reason why I wanted to start my own business was to also make a positive impact. I think, I think there has to be a business opportunity that you see, but at the same time, you want to keep yourself motivated. And I think one of the key things, because it is tough launching your own business, and I realized that before I started, I never thought it was this tough, to be totally honest, but I knew it was going to be tough. And I thought one of the key things to keep me going was to have a clear mission that I could hold on to. And for me, that was the environment. And I've always been very passionate about the environment. I've always loved the great outdoors. I lived in South Africa when I was a kid. I'm originally from Holland, but I lived in South Africa from like 7 to 11. I lived in Mexico, and I lived in UK for a long, long time, and the States even. And but I remember those key years we were in South Africa between the age of 7 and 11, and I used to always play outdoors a lot. I used to play with my friends in like dry rivers. And, I love hiking, I love surfing, I love skiing, snowboarding. So I've always loved the outdoors. And so I thought when I start my own business, I want to have something to do with that. So I want to do something that's good for your body and mind, namely having a product that is, a lot less, is a lot better for you, but also have a positive impact on the environment. And the cool thing is, which I'll come to later, is that it's really connected in our case, right? It's like we say we're energy from nature for nature. But that was a long process to get the right name and to get everything right. So I think just from the beginning, I remember one of the toughest things was actually finding a good name. Because for everyone who starts their own business will know this, but a name is very, very difficult, not only to creatively come up with something, but then also to see if something is actually available. Because if you think about the category I was in, energy drinks, it's actually the same category from a name perspective as all soft drinks, all juices, all beers even. So I always had the ambition I wanted to start really small, start super focused, but like, if all went well, I wanted to have that global thinking, the long-term thinking. So I did want to have a name that was both kind of still available, trademarkable, in the UK, in Europe, and in the States. And so this was a very tough process that took me a long, long time. But that's all you have time for that when you start your own business, because I also still had to develop the products, I had to find, source all my ingredients, find a way to blend them all, and package them all. So that whole process is an interesting phase. And it's difficult, but it's also, of course, fun. And one of the key elements for our brand, for TENZING, was actually when I was traveling. I went traveling, actually not for work, wasn't work related. It was back in the day where you could still travel. And I enjoyed that very much. And we were in Asia with my family. And I remember bumping into with the Sherpa tea. So a Sherpa tea is a really strong tea with salt. And it's more like a soup, really. And I found out that the Sherpas drink this when they're on their treks on Everest, or like obviously the Sherpas are most known for helping people, supporting people on Mount Everest to reach the top. But they also just live in especially very high altitudes. So I was like quite intrigued by this. And they actually, when I was digging into a bit more, they drink two key teas. They drink the Sherpa tea, which is a strong tea with salt, and then they drink a lemon tea. And I had this doctor, a nutritional doctor, that helped me out with my recipe. And I immediately called him because I was really intrigued and said, is this a cultural thing, or does it actually make sense that they drink these two teas? And he says, it actually makes quite a lot of sense, because it's kind of a triple hit of natural caffeine from the strong tea, the Himalayan salts, the salts there for the electrolytes, and then the vitamin C through the lemon tea. And that then actually, became the core of the Tenzing recipe. And also, interesting, straight after, I thought, wow, it would be so beautiful to name the brand Tenzing. After Sherpa Tenzing, the first man on Mount Everest, together with Edmund Hillary. And my dad was always a big Tenzing fan. He used to tell me about, how when he was a small boy, how he'd watched the TV and watched, on the radio, how, Edmund Hillary and Sherpa Tenzing were the first to ever climb Everest. So I heard all the stories, and I immediately had one of those beautiful, nearly spiritual moments, I would say, because when you start your own business, it's all a lot clouded in doubt. But that was the moment I really thought, wow, this is a great name, because Zing also means energy in English, of course, like zing. And I thought that would be great. And then I got it actually was available still. I had a trademark, guy look at it, and I said, do I actually need the permission? And he goes, you don't need the permission, because Tenzing is a very common name in that area. But of course, for me, that didn't feel right. So I reached out, found the family. Sherpa Tenzing had passed away in the 70s. I found his sons, and we met, and my whole family ended up meeting their whole family. And it was really, really actually quite a cool experience. And they are now also kind of partners in the business. So right from the beginning. And that is also, so then basically that was the name. That was the key inspiration for starting the business. The Sherpa tea was actually the key inspiration to start my own, blend of ingredients. And so what also then happened is then, I thought, having been to Nepal and also seeing firsthand something that got a lot of press at that time was how littered Mount Everest was. So I spoke to Jamling Tenzing, one of the sons of Sherpa Tenzing, and I said, what is it that we could do? I said, could we organize like a cleaning mission or anything of those things? He said, well, that's very temporary. Why don't we just invest in building bins? There was already an organization doing that, and we helped fund them and help build extra bins there on the way to Mount Everest, on the way to base camp. And we've been supporting that goal right from the beginning, even though our cash flow was, there was hardly any cash in the business. That's one of the first things we actually did. And since then, we've actually we've kept building on that premise to help the environment. So that was our first project we did. One of the cool things now is we're now 4 years further, and one of the things that we're going to do is actually use the plastic that was found there over the years that we kind of helped take off the mountain and make a plastic water bottle from that, make a reusable plastic water, it's fully recyclable, a water bottle from the litter that we collected ourselves over the years. So that's the kind of a cool way to kind of constantly be, working on our environmental mission. So now, fast forward to 2020, we're doing really well. We're one of the fastest growing, where we actually are the fastest growing energy drink for about 3-4 years in a row, percentage wise, and also now in absolute terms. This year, we were the top 3 fastest growing in absolute terms with an energy drink. So, meaning that in absolute money, we added we're in the top 3 of adding the most to the energy drink market. So that kind of shows you that we're kind of, starting to work at the same kind of, growth levels as the big dogs. So a couple of other cool projects that I'll mention that what we've done is, for instance, I think what it always comes, and I think that's important, when you have a mission or something that you're passionate about in your own business, whether it's your own business or where you work for business, I think it's always really important to keep it close to yourself. Because that's where you understand most, that's where you're most passionate about. And I think that's when you can genuinely also make a difference. So I think keep it close to your product, like I said in the beginning. So we said we're energy from nature, but we also are for nature. So it's obviously very closely combined. We always say in the team, look, if there's no nature around anymore, if we've treated nature so badly, there's no way that nature can energize us. I love that saying of saying nature doesn't need us, it's us that needs nature. And that's what we really feel in the team, and we've always kind of, inspired to do. And then, so I think that's the key thing, keep it close to your products, but also keep it close to what you're personally passionate about, what the team is passionate about. And one of the next things actually after, so first of all, building those bins, on the way to Mount Everest, was something that we saw personally and that we thought, let's try and make a little bit of an impact there. Our second big environmental project was actually came through running. So I'm a keen runner myself. We love to run within the TENZING team. We also actually sponsor a lot of running events. We had a lot of cans in those, in triathlons, half marathons, and the Royal Parks, for instance, the half marathon. And at one point, and for running for me is a great way to keep mentally and physically fit. I think, like I said before, it is very, very tough to launch your own business. I think underestimated. I think by most. I think unless you've done it, unless you've really felt how genuinely horrible it can be, the self-doubt, the hard-working, not so much the hard-working actually, because everyone works hard. I think it's just more like the constant will this work feeling, and everyone doubting you feeling that you get. So I think and the rejection, just the constant rejection that you get, and the keep on having to go back. And running for me was a great way just to let it all go. I think there's probably even more for my mind so than for my body. Obviously, having a healthy body helps you keep your mind sane as well. But I just needed to have like a way to let all that energy out. And then I was running, and then one day I came back and I read a newspaper article that said that in London, in certain areas, it's so polluted that you might as well not run. It's so bad for you that it negates all the positive effects of running. So I thought we sat down with the team, so this is something we should really do something about. And then we got the article came from King's College, so we reached out to King's College, and got best professors there that do a lot of research around kind of not only the effects of pollution, how to minimize it, but also where that pollution exactly is. So what we did, actually, we worked with King's College, and they were really happy that we came along as well, because we used their data and their brains and their knowledge. But we could use our platform to help people find the cleanest routes in London. So we partnered with Strava, and we partnered with King's College. We used the data King's College had, and we used the runners on Strava, and we connected both. And it was really cool. It's obviously still going. It's been more than 300,000 runs have been clocked through the TENZING Clean Air Tracker. So it's a simple tool. If you Google TENZING Clean Air Tracker, you can find it. And then you download it through Strava. And every time you do a run on Strava, it'll show you your clean air score. So there's two things you can do. You can map it up front so you can see where the clean areas are, so you can run in the cleanest possible area. And also you can look afterwards. So you can look afterwards how clean your run was. And this allows you, the more you do it, the better you get. Is it better in the morning, or is it better in the evening? What seasons are bad? Like spring is one of the worst seasons, funny enough, for running. So then maybe sometimes better to stay inside and run, or like run early in the morning, or not run on the bad days. So it's just a great way to kind of help people run in the cleanest possible areas in the big smoke. And the cool thing as well, again, it came from a genuine idea to help ourselves run through these clean areas. And then we started a run club. So it was really cool every time in the office. Unfortunately, no longer do we have an office, and the run club was also a victim of Corona, unfortunately. But it's still going on digitally. So we came back, every week we'd come into the office on a Thursday evening, and we'd run with a run coach, and we'd run in the cleanest areas in the UK. So it was like a community that built around clean running on Strava in real life. And it was the effect, and that's the cool thing, is that when you do something that's genuine and that gives to people, that gives value to people, of course, if you're running, this is a valuable product for you. And we got a lot of attention on the back of that. For instance, we were named by Men's Health as the number one app that will change your life in 2020. I think there's other apps now that will change your life in a better way, but at the time it was, it was seen by Men's Health as the number one app. So I think that's just really cool, and really shows that you can make a positive impact if you do something that's close to your heart and close to what you love doing. Now, for instance, we are we're constantly looking how to further push this. We've got some amazing new product, amazing new digital tools actually coming in the beginning of January, beginning of next year, and I found. Funny enough, in Corona, again, it was an extremely tough period. It was like, will we make it out? Have I been working with the team so closely and so passionately with all of us? We're 12 people in the team at TENZING. And, I think we all saw nearly like that vision of, oh my God, has it all been for nothing, right? I think, and I think that many entrepreneurs felt that or are feeling that, or many people that work for companies. It's a difficult time. And I remember actually, so our business kind of halved over that period. Now, luckily, we are doing really well again. So we came out of it really strong, and I think we just had enough loyal customers that then found us online and found us back a store in the supermarkets. And I think so we were really lucky to come out of this alive and have really good loyal followers that liked the product and found it no matter what. So let's say quarter three after a lockdown was actually our best quarter ever. So we were actually going to grow this year despite everything. But one of the key things I've personally kind of suffered with, I'll be honest, is the kind of the idea of an essential worker. I used to run next to the Thames, and there was this big written. Someone had written something on a beautiful big sheet there and hanged it over their balcony. And thank you to all the essential workers in the UK. I don't know if many of you had that, but I had a feeling like, is the work I'm doing really essential? So actually, as a team, we all felt that, and we thought, okay, let's make sure our work is essential. And with the whole climate crisis that's happening now, we're actually going to double down on our environmental efforts. And that's what we're going to be working hard on that over the last 2-3 months. And since, let's say, lockdown 1, and we will announce that on the 1st of January. So there's a lot more to come. But I think the main thing that I've noticed is that, is to keep yourself energized when you're in your own business. You need a big purpose to hold on to. And for your customers, it's also really an amazing way to open doors, to get people to kind of listen to you, because that's also one of the most difficult things when you're a startup. Sometimes I find it is more difficult to let the end user, the actual drinker, because they are very much focused on, which I totally understand. If you're in front of that shelf and you feel a bit like you need of energy, you just got to make sure the packaging looks great and the stuff actually just tastes good and works. But there you see more and more, especially if you do it from a community level, like we did with our run club and our runners, you do see more and more that that's the way to people pick you up. So don't expect, if you have a positive mission and something that's great for the environment, don't expect that because of that reason alone, people will pick you up. So you have to have, obviously, your product has to make sense and it has to be relevant, it has to be unique. But on top of that, you can actually create a loyal following if you actually mean something for people. So don't just do something for yourself, but in our case, or do something for the environment. Which can be very positive, but also make sure that does something for the people that essentially buy you or want to become part of your group and part of the the TENZING community. In our case, a good example of that was that run club. We actually supported people to run in cleaner areas and also become aware of the pollution as a result, and hopefully take their own footprint down. And that's what we want to double down on from the 1st of January. So hopefully this was a bit enlightening from how we do that from a TENZING perspective. Watch this space because we're going to be doing a lot more. And thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.